Hello, watchers of debates and podcasts. Welcome to the Leftists and Lies videocast.
Oh, why aren't you paying your taxes? Why aren't you paying enough taxes? Pay more taxes.
Oh, okay. Um, I, I, I guess I don't support the military now. Okay.
No, you don't support anything. Pay more taxes.
All right. Do you take deductions on your taxes at all?
Not talking about me here. We're talking about Donald Trump's taxes. And since he hasn't released them, I have to speculate wildly. He probably took out a loan from Putin. Putin had personally gave him a loan.
Well, he did praise
Confirmed.
Putin as as the God Emperor of Russia. So you got a point. All right. You wanna give your opinions about the debate, and we'll go on from there.
All right. So the first thing I want to say is I really don't like Pence like at all, but I think he did a tremendous job, and not even so much because of what he did, but because of how retarded Kane was and how every single question Kane was asked and every question that was asked to Pence just turned into Kane saying, "How come Donald Trump won't release his tax returns? Why isn't he paying enough taxes? He's evil. Pay more taxes."
Yeah, I think like Penn or Kane couldn't stay on topic at all. Even at one point, the moderator had to make a little joke saying like, "Governor, I'll give you 30 seconds to answer that, but I want to remind you, we are talking about North Korea here." Just because Pence or Kane was going on like a tirade about Trump's taxes.
And how we have to speculate wildly about what could be in them. Since he won't release them, that means that we have to make up stories about what's in them. And then say that we don't know what's in them immediately after like going on a long story of like how Donald Trump is owing money to Putin.
And then after we speculate on what's in his taxes, we're gonna say he wants to pay less than none.
Yep.
What
He,
his
he
costs
pay,
are for.
that's this is the logic. He pays zero taxes, and also Trump has no money. They try to claim, oh, Trump's not a billionaire. He has no money, and he lost that $1 billion that one year. And he couldn't have had the $1 billion to lose because he's always been poor and he lies about how much money he is. And then he never pays the taxes on
He's
the
also
money he doesn't have, and then he wants to lower the taxes he doesn't pay on the money he doesn't have.
he's
That's
also a left-wing extremist and a right-wing extremist. I mean, who does that?
Yep.
All right. What else do you think about it? Could you make anything out when Kane wasn't interrupting?
Uh, Basically, there was like no questions that even really got answered without just the whole thing going into Trump's taxes. Like whenever they tried to get into a few policy discussions, it just turned into like just him screaming like, "Oh, Trump's gonna lower taxes on himself and stuff." And you know who said, "I promise to raise taxes on the middle class"? Almost seems like maybe it's that person's running mate. Maybe it's a presidential candidate.
She did misspeak there.
Well, what did she mean to say?
The upper class.
Well,
She
her
was one
tax
class
pledge.
too low.
She did in that same thing say she wouldn't pledge to raise taxes on the middle class, and then said, "I will raise taxes on the middle class."
It was a misspeak, but I don't doubt that she's going to do that.
And she refuses to say she won't, and
Yeah.
she did misspeak. She claims. I just love though how they're trying to say Trump is going to raise taxes on the middle class, while like Hillary's like the one who
Yeah, that
actually
came out
said
of
those
nowhere.
words.
That was completely ridiculous. His tax plan is tax cuts all the way around.
And they're like more on the bottom. Like if you make under 25,000, like if you're the lower class, you pay zero. You literally can't cut the lower taxes more than that.
Yeah, like that came completely out of nowhere. That just seemed like a left wing talking point that had no basis in fact.
Rachel Maddow probably said it. That makes it true.
What'd you think of the of how Kane constantly promoted the nuclear deal as one of Hillary's accomplishments?
I don't really even understand how they're like nobody likes that. Nobody's supporting that. I don't understand why he would be bringing that up. Like that wasn't even something that like was attacked at him. He was bringing it up. Like nobody likes things. I personally don't really give two shits about Iran. I don't think that they're a big thing. But the whole problem with the Iran deal is that we're giving them like a bunch of money. And then Obama's like bragging that like, well, we gave them that like 1.4 billion already, but you know, they were asking for more. So in reality, they're paying us. When it's like, yeah, they're asking us for that, but we don't have to give it to them. Like we had the sanctions on them that we like seized the money, and then we're America. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna fucking start a war with us demanding money back? I don't think anybody's gonna want to fuck with America. Like, isn't the whole point of being a superpower that you can fucking take the people who are like being evil shitheads and you be like, I'm a superpower. You don't want to fuck with me. I'm gonna get all my friends to just like refuse trade with you, and
You know,
nobody's gonna go over my head.
I want to be the benevolent dictator of the world. I want America to be the benevolent dictator of the world, where we have the power to nuke everyone out of existence and not have like any repercussion for it. Just be completely dominant, but still, be that guy who goes out to the bar with the other countries. Like, hey, China, you like the drink I just bought you? You're welcome, no problem. Just like a cool guy who knows he can kick the shit out of you whenever he wants. Kind of like if you put Conor McGregor into a room full of kindergartners. That's what I want America to be.
That's what it should be like. Like, is that's the whole point of like we have all these liberals who want us to like go protect these shitty areas. Then we have like the Republicans who like want us to go nation building in the Middle East and shit. And a lot of the liberals will support those too. But then if a Republican's the one who says it, they'll say they're against it. Like, you know, Obama can go in the Middle East and that's perfectly fine. But when Bush did it, there were like people protesting and starting riots over the wars and shit.
Hey, I forget what it was about. Do you remember that like huge Dodge Kane had?
Uh, which
Like, Pence
one?
Pence asked him a question, and he just like completely dodges the question like in its entirety, and then moves to like Trump's taxes.
You have to be more specific
There
there.
was one really blatant one. It was
Uh,
towards the end.
I think I know the one you were talking about when they were talking about like the Putin deal or something,
Maybe.
or the Russia reset, and then there's like that was another thing. Like he kept talking about how great the Russian reset was, like, and then like you know everybody's mad about the Ukrainian thing, and like honestly, I think everybody's making Putin out to just be like an evil dictator just because they're like upset that he like embarrassed Obama, and that's the entire reason. And then like you have Hillary, who's basically like accusing Putin of everything in the world and basically wanting to war with Putin. And then everybody's out there saying Trump's going to start wars, when she's out there like literally trying to start a war with Russia.
You can't insult like a foreign country's leader like that and not expect anything. Like
Yeah, like
anything in
there's ways you can insult a leader, but you can't just go and just say that like, oh, he's influencing our elections and he's evil and he's a brutal dictator and he's mass murdering psychopath. Like if you just went up and be like, I think Putin's trying to like be a little bit over aggressive in like Ukraine or something. Like you have to be a little bit, you can't just accuse a guy of being evil. He's not gonna like that. And somebody like Putin, he's somebody who likes strength. That's the big thing with Obama. Like he just completely like embarrasses Obama on shit. Like Obama will say like, "Don't do this, Putin," and he'll do it just because he knows Obama won't do anything. And that's ridiculous that we have a leader like if you say somebody can't do something, you have to like go and follow through with that. Because if you don't, nobody's going to take you seriously, and then you have no negotiating power with any other countries. Like if you say something stupid, like when Obama had the red line in Syria, after you say like that red line and then they cross it, You have to be prepared to go in there and fuck their shit up, fucking bomb the shit out of them, destroy everything they love, destroy everything they looked at, everything, completely obliterate it. Because you can't just go and say, if you do this, we're gonna start a war with you, and then not do it, because then nobody's gonna ever trust you on anything. People are just gonna go and just like embarrass you all over the world. And that's what we have with Obama. The same thing would happen with Hillary. She'd go and tell like Assad, like, hey, you can't do this, and he'll go and do it. And then what's she gonna do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just let them do it. Say, hey, we told you not to do that.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop violating your promises when you donated to my campaign.
Well, I don't think Assad's donating
Well,
to her
not Assad
campaign.
specifically, but the people from that region.
Yeah, pretty much everybody other than Assad, which is why she wants Assad gone, so that she can replace him with somebody who'll donate to her campaign.
I'd say that's a pretty good reason to want someone gone. He didn't donate to me.
Yeah, we need the Saudis to take over Syria.
I do want to call out Pence for one point. And I really wanted him to say this. I wanted him to make the case for it, make the argument for it, say this on a public debate, but he didn't do it. Tim Kaine called him out for saying that he wants to abolish the minimum wage. Mike Pence has been against the minimum wage for quite a while. He even, let's see here. He voted to not increase the minimum wage to $7.25 back when it was $5.15. And I think it's pretty obvious that he's against the minimum wage. But then he's like, oh, no, I'm not against the minimum wage. I like the minimum wage. Minimum wage, minimum wage. Black people vote for me, minimum wage. And I really wanted him just to come out and say, yeah, I hate the minimum wage. People should be free to enter into their own contracts. People should be free to work for whatever money they want. Also, I want people dying in the streets. Get rid of welfare.
I should be able to literally legally work for Armin for a single peanut if I wanted to. I should literally be allowed to work for peanuts.
A peanut a day, not peanuts.
Yes, I should literally be allowed to do that. What's even stupider is I could work for Armin for free, and that's perfectly legal. But if I wanted to work for $5, that's illegal.
Yep, and that actually gets a lot of college students taken advantage of when they go in for like an internship. You can't afford to pay an intern who doesn't know anything about the job and is still in college, so they're not even going to focus all their time on the job. You can't afford to pay the minimum wage. They're not going to give you that much out of it. They're not worth that much. Maybe if you paid them $3, they wouldn't be angry, as opposed to paying them no money. Maybe they'd appreciate $3. Maybe $3 gets them a little bit of little spending cash when they walk around. Maybe it helps them pay for books. Maybe more money can't hurt them. Let people get paid $3 for internships that would otherwise be unpaid.
Oh, while we're on the minimum wage, I recently saw like one of those liberal Facebook posts talking about Australia and saying like, in Australia they have like a minimum wage that's like $13 or whatever, and their McDonald's and stuff doesn't go out of business. And I looked it up. Like one, like that's Australian dollars. Two, they have a two-tier system for their minimum wage. If you're getting a part-time job, or if you're a younger worker, you'll work for like the minimum wage is lower for you. Where if you're like a 30-year-old working full time, the minimum wage is higher for you. Who do you think that they're going to be hiring then? The younger kids there. They're not really being affected by the minimum wage, are they?
$13 is also $9.92 in U.S. dollars.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact amount is now, but it was like it said like in 2013, Australia raised the minimum wage to like 13 Australian dollars, and like what I love is that like you don't even have to like most of these things you don't even have to like follow through with like the debunking each one of the points, because they often lie about all the numbers and stuff. And the thing, you can use their numbers, and like most of the time, the shit doesn't make sense. Like there was this one thing I saw like a couple weeks ago that said like last week the governor of California signed in this law that would guarantee overtime for this specific business. And last month, the state of California had the highest job growth of any state. And the thing is, like this was like the last week of September that like the thing was posted, and the thing was saying he made it a week ago, and then it was saying the week before September the thing happened. So one, the law wouldn't even be, it wasn't even signed during the month they're talking about. And
Nonetheless,
two, when you sign a bill, it doesn't go into effect until the next year.
yep.
Like, even if their numbers are accurate, those two things couldn't be connected. And that's the type of shit liberals will do. And they know that those things are wrong, but they know that they have to lie to people to get their points across. Liberals know they have to lie.
Just while we're on that topic of bills not going into effect, I want to take a moment to appreciate one of my favorite added amendments to the Constitution. Amendment 27, ratified 5/7/1992. No law varying the compensation for services of senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. That means you can't vote to increase your pay. Well, you can, but it doesn't take effect until the next election. So if I say, hey, I'm not making enough money, $200,000, that's peanuts. I want $2 billion every month. And then I get that passed somehow, magically. And then the next election cycle, people are going to say he voted to raise his pay 45 billion%, and it's going to be kind of hard to get me elected. So then I'm just going to give my opponent more money.
You may think it's going to be hard to get elected, but you can take out loans on that $45 billion you were going to have, and then get ads all over everywhere.
Yeah.
Handing out free iPads to everybody in the state.
It really doesn't make a difference now because no one cares what the politicians do. They're just going to get reelected because the incumbent always gets reelected. Yay, democracy.
The biggest problem with the incumbent is that like how polarized people are, that like people just vote Republican or Democrat. And because of that, there's like a lot of shitty politicians. Like in my state, Suzanne Collins, literally the worst Republican that's ever like existed.
Wait, she's a Republican?
Yes, she's a Republican. Well, no,
I don't
she has
believe
an R
you.
next to her name.
I'm pretty sure she's not. I don't believe you.
She's rated as like the least partisan senator because she's literally takes every other issue, Republican or Democrat. She's complete opposite on like everything. Like she tries to go down the middle on literally everything. Then she's a complete retard on like things like I'm gonna go ahead and sign this thing and be against Trump because I'm just gonna be one of these conservatives. Like she's literally the worst.
What's that thing that you were talking about that LePage gave you guys a surplus and then they spent it so like instantly?
Oh yeah, like every year LePage, Paul LePage is my governor. I love the guy. Literally the best governor in the world. But
guillotine.
Yeah, he does support the guillotine. So like every year he's been in office, he's had a surplus. But we can't save the surplus because like we have this thing where if you end the year with a surplus, then we have like a thing with all the politicians in the state house and the state senate or whatever, and they decide it like what to spend the extra money on. And like LePage keeps trying to say like, can we save some of this money at least? And people are like, no, we have a surplus. We're gonna keep getting more revenue every year, so let's keep spending it all. And like the problem is, we're only having this while LePage is governor. He's term limited. He's getting kicked out next election because he can't run again.
So, wasn't there a thing where he threatened to kick some guy's ass?
Yeah, I don't know if the story's true or not because like the liberal media loves to lie about anything LePage does, but it seems pretty LePagey. So like,
I definitely hope it's true.
Here's what they're alleging. They're alleging that he like threatened to duel a guy over some disagreement that he had, which I think is hilarious. But then the way that they like frame the thing is they're saying like LePage threatens to murder a man like for disagreement. And then I click the article, and then it's just like he threatened to duel a man. It's like, well, dueling wouldn't be murder. Like the guy would have to consent to the duel. And also, I think it's hilarious, and it's obviously a joke. I don't think LePage is actually going to duel a person.
Andrew Jackson style.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson style.
What do you wanna move into? You want to move into the qualifications of either VP candidate?
Yeah, you should bring up the chart there.
Oh shit.
It's in the document still. It's on the second page.
I lost the I lost. Can I do this? Nope. Fuck. I lost the direct link to it. I can't pull it up.
How do you?
I'm just gonna guyzo it. Give me a second. Entertain people.
Well, there's a pretty similar records between the two. Hold on, I'm gonna try to see if I can find the thing.
I just guyzoed it. Give me a sec here. All right, there we go. Here it is.
So as you can see on the private sector employment, they have a pretty similar record. If you change the negative 133 by adding a single line, you can change the negative to a positive, and then that's pretty similar there.
Yep.
And for the employment, if you turn the decline into an increase and then double it, that's almost as good.
Here's an error I found. Non-farm versus non-farm.
There's a problem there.
Completely discredited. Probably
Discredited completely.
Numbers too.
I like the thing at the bottom where it's like less than a week into office, he promised to break a no higher taxes promise. If a liberal promises you no higher taxes, he's lying. Like you just know that, like that's a thing. And if a Republican
Not
promises
just liberals.
if a Republican promises no higher taxes, 50% of the time he's lying.
Yeah, a good 50%. I'd say that's fair. That's fair.
100% of the time with liberals, 50 for Republicans.
Going back to what we were saying earlier.
Well, maybe 99%. I mean, JFK lowered corporate tax rate.
Hillary Clinton, she promised to not raise the taxes on the middle class.
She didn't promise that. She said she wouldn't promise.
I'm pretty sure she said she would promise that there'd be no taxes on the middle class.
No, she like her websites even said before that like she won't make a promise, and then she said she doesn't want to make the promise that she can't keep.
No,
like, she said multiple times.
I think I heard that somewhere. I might be.
She might have said it somewhere, but she's also said the opposite a few times.
I might be mistaken completely, but I just think I heard that somewhere.
While we're on the taxes, though, a lot of people don't know this, but if you factor in deductions, which Reagan cut a lot of deductions when he lowered the tax rate, JFK actually had a bigger tax cut than Reagan. If you factor in that Reagan cut deductions, like the actual effective tax rates, JFK had larger tax cuts than Reagan. Both of which increase tax revenue while having huge tax cuts by increasing medium incomes for families. But why use like basic economic theory and shit for making economic plans? But why not just like tax people to shit?
Okay, I just had to look something up here. This 113,000 fewer Hoosiers. I didn't know what that was. That's a resident of Indiana.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know it until a few months ago when like everybody was like talking about it. Back when
why Hoosiers?
It's something about the fucking basketball or something.
Okay. Okay. Well, you want to go through any more of this, or are we good?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
While we're on these economic things, you should bring up the chart though that I made. Just a few simple Obama charts.
All right. So here we got a few charts. I'll go ahead and let Prefix explain these.
Zoom into them so they're not like so tiny. So I just like grabbed these like a little bit ago. I didn't put much effort to finding them, so I just grabbed like so in the top left over here we have like the labor force participation. As you can see, like when Obama came into office, like yeah, it was kind of dropping a little bit, but like this recovery that they speak of, we're still getting people out of the workforce.
How about this right here? This, huh?
Yeah, you remember the 2012 elections? I had that
Oh,
same
this.
argument with Malachi on hack forums, where like at like 2012, like there was like a month like during there that it went up, and then like Malachi was like arguing like it went up last month, so it's not still dropping.
How about this huge spike here?
Yep, that's almost to 2014 levels.
Yeah, there you go. See, not completely terrible.
And that's what a lot of the people do with Obama. They'll like zoom in at the one increase, like it was better than 2 years ago. It's like, but 2 years ago was still Obama. Like that's not really good.
Yep.
That
This isn't the worst year I've had.
yep. You remember how Obama in 2008? I'm gonna half the debt, or I'm gonna be a one-term president. I promise that.
Moving on. Half the debt, you say? Did you mean divide by half?
Oh, you see, that was the problem. He meant to half it, but what he really did is he really meant he was going to divide by half, and he didn't specify that. So that's our fault.
See, he punched it in on his calculator wrong. He did what he wanted to do. He got that figure that he wanted to get to, but he just punched it in wrong. So he aimed for the wrong figure.
And that's going to be over 20 trillion by the time he's gone. So now go to the next on the left side. We've got the medium income here with the as we could see during like Reagan, it was kind of skyrocketing, and then Bush Senior with the "read my lips, no new taxes." First thing in office, new taxes. Voodoo economics doesn't work, and then like Republicans got like a decent majority in the House and stuff, and lower the corporate tax rate during the 90s, even during Bill Clinton's presidency. So then we have you may hear people talk about the job growth with Obama, saying like, oh well, we have job growth. Look, we've added millions of jobs or some shit. But I decided to Google like population growth versus job growth, and I also want to note something about this population. Some of this population isn't quite perfect. It's actually worse than it looks because a lot of the population we're importing are working age males that we're getting like a lot of more refugees and shit. So like normally as population goes up, you're getting like kids and stuff. So like but then people are also aging the same. So like they're more linear. This chart, while it is linear, birth rates are declining, but we're getting like more refugees. The job growth should actually be above the population growth because of importing working age males.
Minor flaw with this one. It's only till 2009. So
Yeah, it's been going this way constantly. That it only gets the first year of Obama. I messed that chart up. I could show you. I can Google another one, but anyways, the food stamp thing is the big one. Like now, whenever you talk about like food stamp stuff, liberals will always try to say, like, "Oh, you're trying to cut the food stamps. They don't cost that much." The problem isn't the food stamps. The problem is that like when people are on food stamps, it typically means that they're people who are making less money. The biggest problem we're having right now is that a lot of people are only getting part-time jobs. People aren't getting full-time jobs because the economy's shit and the regulations make it so if you hire full-time workers, then everything's going to shit. And about the population job growth thing, what I wanted to mention about was like the whole thing got shit after the 1965 Immigration Act. That's the biggest thing that's fucked with our economy. And that was like one thing I wanted to bring that up. It's not so much Obama. You can blame Ted Kennedy for that one.
all right.
And it's been going up to like complete shit. But Then we have the most important chart in the middle on the right side. We have
This one, before we get into it, we do have some predictions here. We're not sure how accurate they are, but these, I think most people would agree these are kind of in the ballpark.
yeah, I would say that their margin of error, like the margin of error is like 1, so they're pretty accurate if you consider like a margin of error of 1 to be good.
Lower on this graph is better. Just a heads up.
Yep.
Under Obama, it skyrocketed. It basically doubled what Clinton was negative. Well, it
Yeah.
got the same as what Clinton was negative. Kind of like the Pence thing.
Yep. In 1999, there was one Harambe who was born and 0 Harambes being murdered. So that was during Clinton's presidency. And during Bush Senior and Bush Junior, we just have the 0. The Reagan, we have 0, and then under Obama, we have one time Harambe was murdered.
For this graph, the prediction was if Trump gets in office. So
Yes.
that's kind of important. If you don't want more Harambes murdered, vote Trump.
Yeah, like we're pretty sure that if Trump's elected, 0 Harambes will be murdered. I mean, maybe they'll even resurrect a Harambe.
Hey, that could count as that could be an all time low from the since the Clinton administration.
Maybe they'll clone 2 Harambes.
Two. Ooh, now we're getting pretty big on this. All right, you want to move on?
Martin Shkreli wants people to clone Harambe.
I fucking love Martin Shkreli. He's like the best person ever.
I completely agree.
This is our official endorsement of Martin Shkreli for anything he does.
They actually do have they actually do have sperm from Harambe.
Oh,
We could actually get Harambe's. We could get Harambe too.
yeah, that'll be a pretty good movie.
But
Harambe 2, The Revenge.
there's also petitions people are making for cloning Harambe.
Is there really a petition?
Many petitions.
I'm gonna find this.
Just Google petition to clone Harambe.
Change.org. Science. Get Harambe cloned. This is sent to science.
There's 200 supporters already.
Hold on, I'm gonna screen share this. As you can see, I praise our Savior Harambe.
So if we get 2 Harambes cloned during a Trump presidency, then you just share that with your Facebook friends.
I did.
And you just like doxed yourself with your name and state.
Yeah, I'm not hard to find.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's
So
fine.
we will get all-time high if Trump's elected. We clone 2 Harambes.
All right. So
But we can get to all-time high or all-time low for Harambe murders.
moving on from shit posting, what do you want to do?
We had a few more topics on the thing, didn't we?
How about?
Oh yeah, the registered 19 dead people to vote.
Who registered 19 people to vote? I didn't click this.
Some young Virginia Democrat guy. Let me get his. I linked the article.
You can't fucking click articles in Google Docs. Google Docs needs to fix their shit.
So this guy Joseph Fitzgerald, who's shockingly a prominent Democrat in Harrisonburg. He's the chairman of the 6th Congressional District, the Democratic Committee in Virginia, and he's a former mayor of Harrisonburg. So he was caught registering 19 dead people to vote. And then in another weird thing, which I just wanted to bring these up because they're both they both have the same number, and I found that weird. There's a Bridgeport State Representative Christina Ayala arrested on 19 voter fraud charges. I just found that weird because it was 19. She was voting in 19 different districts or
What's
something
the
over the
punishment
years.
for voter fraud?
Uh, Not less than 1 year in prison or more than 2 years in prison.
So 1 to 2 years.
Yep. And
Is that per incident or per
yeah,
like?
per incident, and a fine of $300 to $500 per count. Now, I will say that often when people get caught for something like this, it's super hard to catch people, but if you do, they often won't get charged with voter fraud. They'll usually take like a plea deal and get some lesser charge that carries like no jail time or just
If you
probation
watch
or
any of our previous videos, you'd know our opinions on plea deals.
they're complete shit. So she also has like a history of being complete shit. Like she was fined $350 for a hit and run car accident shortly after winning the 2012 Democratic primary for the House seat. And then she later got in a fight with her boyfriend and faced domestic charges, which were dropped after she completed counseling. Shit, she's
You
black,
know I
by the
hit a
way.
deer.
What?
You know I hit a deer.
You hit a deer when?
2 nights ago. I got some Wendy's and I was going to David's his place of work. Let's not dox David too. His place of work to he works the night shift, so I was there at like 2 a.m. giving him food. So we could just hang out. And no one comes in, so we just chill there sometimes. So I was going over there. A deer was in the median. I didn't see it until the very last second, where it jumps out in front of my car on purpose, mind you. This was 100% against me. It knew who was in there, and he jumps out, and I swerve just enough so that he doesn't like destroy the hood, go over the car, break the windshield. He just takes out the left headlight and the what is it, the fender on the left side, the thing above the
Yeah,
front wheel. He
yeah,
just
the fender.
he also shits himself and smears it on there.
Why are deer so bad? You could
The
be like,
worst.
you could be parked at a park light and it'll run into your vehicle, back up and run again.
He also lost an abnormal amount of blood and got up and left. Like when I hit him, I just looked in the rear view, saw he was there but not moving. I got out of the car and I saw he was twitching there. And then went to survey the damage. I saw, okay, it's not that bad. I guess it could have been worse. And I looked back and the deer's gone. Apparently, he got up and left. And then like later on in the night when I was going home, I was passing by there again. I did a U-turn just to go around where like I hit him to see like if he like made it out or if he was still there. And I saw like a huge pool of blood there, probably like 2 meter diameter pool of blood right there on the road, and then a trail leading away. So he got up and left after that.
Did you report the accident?
No.
Yeah, you're actually supposed to.
Yeah, I think my parents will.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to like do it when it happens.
Yeah,
I don't think it's considered like bad if like this if you didn't crash into any government property or anything or another person.
no, I didn't.
So like I don't think that I know it's illegal like if you crash into like a person and then drove on, that's a hit and run,
Well, if it is illegal, good thing this is just a comedy show and I made that up.
but somebody's gonna call and report you for like a misdemeanor of crashing into a deer and not
Complete comedy.
reporting it.
I made that all up. I actually hit my own car with a sledgehammer. Also, comedy made that up too.
And shit on the side of it.
Oh, but I figured out why I hit a deer that day. Apparently, they had like some sort of Deer Lives Matter protest somewhere nearby because I saw like 60 deer. Normally, I see like 1 or 2, if that, per drive at night. But there was like literally like 60 deer on the road. Only like 2 of them crossed though. Most of them were just like hanging out on the side of the road next to houses. Like in the neighborhoods, the deer were just like congregating.
We have this article here now too.
I'll pull it up.
So Remember how everybody was making a big deal about Trump in Ohio and saying oh, Trump's not doing well in Ohio, and whoever wins Ohio wins the election. Without Kasich, Trump can't win Ohio. Well, apparently now that Trump's doing well in Ohio and beating Hillary, the New York Crimes is up there saying it was a long bellwether state, but now it's fading on the electoral map because Trump's winning. That means it doesn't matter. I just found that funny. And there's another thing, like Trump's winning Colorado, and a couple months ago, or even just weeks ago, I saw these like pundits complaining about Trump, saying like, oh, Trump's he's doing rallies in New Hampshire and Colorado. Like, why is he doing those? He can't win those states. That's stupid. And now he's winning Colorado, and he's like doing well in New Hampshire. He's pretty much like margin of error. Like he's making these blue states like turn purple, which is like really good because right now this is like where Trump's gonna start spending money soon. Like Trump has spent like jack shit compared to Hillary, and they have a lot of stuff to dump on Hillary. And WikiLeaks is gonna drop some shit on Hillary. Oh, while we're speaking about WikiLeaks, also, did you hear about the thing like that came out that she said about Assange?
Did she threaten to assassinate him?
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
when she first said it, like people in the audience just kind of like laughed about it, but then she kept going on about it, and then like people were creeped out. They're like, is she being serious? Like
How did she phrase it?
she said, like, can't we just drone him? And like at first, people were kind of like, with like, that's a little weird, but I guess that's fine. And then she like kept going on about him, and then people were like, whoa, she's kind of serious. She had that like thing where like she gets, when she gets angry, and like the way she talks is like really creepy. Like when she was like doing that, like, why am I not 50 points ahead? Ah! With her like head in her voice.
You mean like that in the debate with Bernie when like she made a joke and then like Bernie also made a joke and then she's like, this is very serious. It's no laughing matter.
Yeah. And she always looks like a complete bitch when like she like does stuff. Like her entire like attitude is like
After bitch.
completely she's not warm. Like if you look at people like Joe Biden or Bill Clinton, when they talk to people, they like connect to people and like show proper emotions and like always seem like fun and happy. And then you like look at her, she's terrible.
I watched this video from Charisma on Command about Bill Clinton's like eye contact, and he's actually like a really good like speaker and really good at like connecting to people while he's speaking to them.
Yeah, that's like the entire reason why he did well in 92. Because like I mean the vote was split between Perot and Bush, but like the whole country was super Republican like at that time. So like for a Democrat to like do as well as Clinton did, Clinton got what like 35% of the vote or 40% in a three-way race. Like he did I think he got like 40%, a little bit more than like Bush and Perot. Like that was pretty good for like a three-man race and for a time where like Democrats weren't that popular just because he connected to the working class because he was just like warm and shit. And Bush Senior did not connect to people very well. He was kind of bad. He was a lot like Hillary, but he was like a little less robotic.
You want to like do this thing. Prefix has this article in here. Kane, I wear my F rating from the NRA as a badge of honor. I don't think anyone's surprised at like people thinking like the Democrats don't like guns. I
Yeah.
think
It's actually not a quote from him. It's actually a Hillary Clinton saying Tim Kaine wears his F rating from the NRA like a badge of honor. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm not 100% fan of everything the NRA does. I think that they've compromised on too many issues. I don't think they go far enough. If I like had a rating from the NRA for like my views as a politician, they would give me like an S plus plus. Like off the charts, saying like this guy's too extreme. Like we can kind of compromise on the like assault rifles for anybody over 3, but like the battle tanks for unborn babies, we're kind of like waiting till they're at least born before they can own tanks. Like they'd be like saying I'm a little bit too extreme.
I think you should have a license before you own a tank.
I disagree. I don't see any reason why I should need a license to own a tank. And I think that even unborn children should have the legal ability to own a firearm.
If they can afford it, they can own it.
Yeah. Yep.
No welfare programs for guns though. We're against that.
Yep. They don't get them free. But I'm just saying, like I do support the right for unborn babies to own assault rifles. I can fully say nobody is more unborn rights than I am. Like I am like more pro than anybody running for office right now.
I can attest to that. All right, you want to move? What's this thing you put in here? Pence ignoring attacks, just moving on to issues. You want to explain that?
Oh yeah, like in the debate, like the whole time, Kane was just trying to like bait Pence into like one of these like little mudslinging contests, so that they can just like go down there and like dirty each other and just like draw attention away from issues and stuff. And he like just completely like ignored it. Like he wasn't even. It's like yeah, those are lies, and he just goes and says his like points. And you could tell that it was aggravating Kane because he's just like sitting there, just repeating the same ones over and over, saying like, "Come on, take this bait," and Pence just completely
triggered during the debate.
What?
Kane looks super triggered during
yeah,
the debate. Like I love the backhanded compliments that Pence gave him.
yeah. The like the little tiny like things like, well, I know you like support these things, and I think that's great, but Hillary hasn't been for them, and like
I was
things
thinking
like
the first one where he like gave him a compliment, but then turned it around to be an insult. I forget what it was. I think it was something like, "Hey, you're really good at Trump's tax returns. Trump's tax returns." Yeah, thanks. That's I think that's how it went.
I can't even remember much specifics of the thing because like I just kept like laughing at the like interrupting with Trump tax returns.
Well, you couldn't understand anything they were saying. Also, this is Tim Kaine's mouth. CS2. You couldn't understand anything they were saying because if you start talking about some random shit, if
the CNN people
you can't understand what either one of them are saying.
So CNN's did a little thing with like their little group, which was like mostly Hillary supporters and like some independents, which I'm pretty sure were probably Hillary supporters. But even they like were getting a little butthurt at the like debate at how like obnoxious Kane was being to like Pence, and they put it out that it was 24-2, was it? Hold on, I posted the thing in the curse. Or 22-4. They had 27 people total. 7 admitted to leaning to Hillary. 5 were admitting to leaning to Trump. 14 women, 13 men, and 12 of them voted for Obama. 14 saying Romney. So they're trying to claim that they voted for Romney more than that. But I'm pretty sure a lot of those people who they're saying voted for Romney are probably like liberals who are lying about the thing there. And they were asking people about the debate, and 22 of them said Pence over Kane, which 7 of the people were openly stating that they were Hillary supporters versus 5 for Trump. So there were Hillary supporters saying like that they were, that they don't think Pence lost, like they think Kane lost, even though they were Hillary supporters. And I think that that's gonna like of the people who watched the debate, I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, fuck this guy if they were like, because I know a lot of people who were like Hillary, and then they're just thinking like, well, at least the VP is somebody who's kind of like a moderate, who's just a normal guy, and I think he can probably do something. So maybe I'll vote that. Like, there's a lot of the conservatives for Trump doing that too, that don't like Trump but like Pence.
I saw a pretty good gab It was like before the debate and after the debate, what the titles were. The title before the debate was "What's His Face versus Who." The title after was "Pence versus some jerk."
That's literally what it was. And like I mentioned before that like in the other debate, like Hillary versus Trump, she was coming off like a complete bitch, just like attacking Trump, where he's just like referring to her as like Secretary Clinton and just like
Oh
being
yeah,
nice and polite.
that was really exemplified in this debate, and Pence even called it out really early, and Kane completely messed up by just falling into that. He called it out, saying like the Clinton campaign has been a campaign of insults. When like your knee jerk reaction would be like, Trump's the insulter. But then you look at the debate, and it's literally Clinton calling Trump a crazy racist sexist, while Trump calls her Secretary Clinton.
And look at any of the
What happened
discussion.
with Kane?
Trump and Pence are actually trying to talk about the issues. Like, what issues has Hillary talked about? Like, even during like the 3 rallies she's done, what is
Hey,
she
you want to hear
talking
an
about?
issue? You want to hear an issue that Tim Kaine brought up? He
Trump's
wants
taxes.
comprehensive immigration reform.
Oh, reform. And what does he mean by this? He didn't
Reform. He
say.
wants to change it.
Yep, they want to change things.
He thinks immigration isn't perfect right now. I think that's a pretty popular opinion.
Yep. And if you want to talk about immigration reform, I think somebody made their huge campaign growth through immigration reform. Now, nobody would call. Well, one thing I hate is that liberals always call their things like reform. Like if you look at anything a Republican does, they don't ever call it reform. Like it wasn't reform when Scott Walker busted up the teachers unions, but it's reform when like liberals increase like the funding to do more of what we're doing for like different schools. They're like, oh, we're gonna throw more money at our shitty schools, and now they give iPads to every student, and the students still don't learn shit.
My basic problem with that, I think that should be banned from all presidential debates. That word, reform. Everything is reform. Unless you think that the current system is 100% perfect, no changes can be made to improve it, everyone supports reform. It's a vague term, and you shouldn't use it when discussing
The only
policy.
reason they use it is because it's fake, so that they can just use it to try to appeal to people.
The issue we're voting on right now, should we throw Prefix off a cliff? He's right now dangling there. Half the people say let's pull him up. Half the people say let's kick him down. I'm for reform. You know, I really want to reform that system.
I feel like I should really have a decision. I don't want to be hanging here while we're deciding.
Don't worry, this will be good for everyone if I reform the system right now, because reform is good. It's always good.
I mean, my ideal system would be like a system where we don't put people on ledges when they're
That,
falling off,
you
but
can't.
somebody
You don't
else's.
live in a hypothetical scenario here.
Other people's view of reform would be put more people on the cliff.
Yep.
So like everybody wants reform on every issue ever.
If you want to say something about it, you might as well like commit to a policy and not just say, what we have now isn't good.
Or
I
at
don't like
least
what we
like
have
say
now.
some goals. Even a
Yeah,
goal like
a
that.
goal would be perfect. Bernie Sanders was very good at stating his goals.
Yeah, like at least Bernie would be like, yeah, here's some goals. We're gonna try to like, we're gonna try to get more health care for people. Like he at least said things. He didn't just say healthcare reform, which is like what Hillary says. Like,
Well,
what are they reforming?
he did a good job at explaining it too. Explaining what he meant by it, not how he's going to achieve it, though.
I want to mention something that was from Stefan's video when they were talking about like Trump's leaked tax returns. Which, by the way, the New York Times broke the law by publishing like they published that 1 year's thing where in 1995 or whatever when he lost $1 billion when like the whole thing collapsed or 94. I forget what year it was, somewhere in the 90s. And
The guy even said that he's willing to go to jail to release Trump's taxes.
yeah, but that's the New York Times. I mean, they're 17% owned by Carlos Slim, the
You want to know what
Mexican
I think about
billionaire.
that?
What?
You want to know my opinion on that guy?
What?
I think we did a thorough investigation and we couldn't find any intent. There's no prosecutor who would take that case. That's what I think. Me
Yep,
personally.
that's definitely true. Even though like literally everybody would take the case, and the only reason that you might not take the case is because the Obama's Justice Department gave everybody immunity. They even gave them immunity for obstruction of justice during the investigation, which is something that doesn't happen. Like even when you're like if you were trying to get like a mob boss or something and you gave immunity to somebody under him to get the guy, you wouldn't give them immunity for obstruction of justice for ruining your case. The obstruction of justice is when they're ruining your case by like blatantly lying to you and misleading you during investigation. Like it's against the law to obstruct justice. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna give
I don't
Cheryl
like
Mills obstruction of justice immunity.
I don't like that law. Any person with a self preservation mechanism in his body would obstruct justice to not be caught.
Well,
Like obviously, I'm not going to say yes. I killed this man. I hit him in this pole here. His chopped up body parts are in this pole in my room.
well, here's how like obstruction of justice like works. Like if you witnessed like somebody burying a body or something, and then they were like going after you, like, oh, where did the guy go that buried it? Did you see who it was? And then like say it was a I don't know a 6'5" Asian guy who's like very distinct, and people would know like the one tall Asian guy. And then you're like, no, it was a 5 foot black woman that lives next door to me, and like or if they're just like covering stuff up for people, they're trying to like you're misleading the investigation. You're like giving them lies about the stuff, which is like slowing down their investigation. That's when they charge you for the thing.
I
I
just think
don't
that's
think it's
something
a
that
big
everyone
crime
would
either.
do. I don't think it's like, and I don't think it's a wrong thing that everyone would do. They're
Well,
trying to
they
like
don't usually
protect
charge people for
themselves.
covering themselves up. They usually do it when they're covering up other people.
Well, normally, if you question someone and you have a reason to obstruct justice, you have something to do with it.
Yeah.
So I
Either you had something to do with it or you witnessed it.
I just think that's kind of a bullshit.
And I'm just gonna say, if I was one of the people, I would not want to turn on Hillary Clinton because I don't want to shoot myself in the back of the head with a shotgun 3 times with as a suicide.
And lock yourself in a duffel bag in your
In your
shower.
tub, yep, with no fingerprints or footprints that I have in my bathroom either.
It's possible.
It is possible. If he was
You got
crawl,
this is something that I hate about you, Prefix. You took a scenario that sounds pretty unbelievable, but it's true, and then you hyperbolized it to the point where it's not true. The original story wasn't. Do you think it wasn't ridiculous enough? Do you think you have to add more things into it?
the guy in the double bag had no fingerprints in his bathroom. Like they couldn't find any fingerprints or.
He shot in the back of the head 3 times with a shotgun, though.
There was a person who shot themselves twice with a shotgun. There was another person who shot themselves in the back of the head.
It was
Twice.
a handgun.
No, those two different things. The guy shot himself in the front with a shotgun.
Okay.
Which that one actually probably was a suicide, but I don't know. But there was the other one, the back of the head with a handgun. There's actually a couple of those.
We did test that. That's possible.
It's possible, but like the way you do it is like you have to try to like be stupid. Like it's so much easier to shoot yourself in the front. Like you wouldn't do that. The same thing with a duffel bag. Like it's technically possible to put yourself in a duffel bag and lock it like while you're in the inside and like zip it up and stuff. But that's super difficult to do.
There's no reason for it.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Like you're taking a scenario that's like really ridiculous and unbelievable, but true, and then adding elements to it to make it like sound even more ridiculous. It was ridiculous enough already. You're just losing credibility.
But I'm just gonna say I would not want to be one of the people who testified against Clinton. And during the latest James Comey interview, they actually mentioned the Reddit thing. Stone here, the guy who was asking on Reddit, like the people at like my work. There's a very important person that like they don't want the emails out. Is there any way I can edit the record to like delete these? Then the guy removed the things, and he was granted immunity by the Justice Department.
Which he still didn't show up to the court hearing.
Yeah,
Illegal, by the way. On top of destroying the records he was ordered to keep. Illegal, by the way.
Yep, he is subpoenaed by the by the House committee to like testify before things, and then his lawyer just says he's pleading the fifth, but that's not how the fifth works. Like if you're subpoenaed to show up, you still have to show up. And then they also subpoenaed the immunity agreement, which they did turn over, but they didn't turn it over in time, so they did violate that subpoena as well illegally. And then there was like the Democrats who were on the thing trying to like say like he has the right to not show up. Like we don't have any authority here with these subpoenas. I'm gonna vote no. They all voted like no on like the contempt charge to like hold the guy in contempt.
We're wasting taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, they'll even like do that. Like they spend their entire time questioning this screen that we're wasting taxpayer dollars while they're stonewalling the thing. They're literally obstructing justice. Like on those investigations, like they're just up there, just slowing down and dragging and ruining the investigation as much as they can, and then screaming it's all political. And then there's
hands bother me. You ever notice his hands? How like his wrist is actually bigger than his hands?
Whose?
Cummings.
Oh yeah.
His wrists are bigger than his hands, and that really like bothers me when I look at him. That's nothing like against like his character or anything. That's just something that bothers me.
No, he's a shit. He has a shit character too, and
he was
found like to be completely corrupt on the IRS thing with leaking shit to Eric Holder's office with a voicemail that people left on the wrong person's machine. They accidentally called Daryl Ice's office, who's a Republican who was on the investigative committee, and they were like talking to like about Cummings on the things like, do you have like the info we need now? Like they literally have evidence that Cummings was like being corrupt in the investigation and violating the law, but like, is anything going to happen to that? No. Politicians don't get in trouble when they do things. There was like another big thing that you know how when they have like those State Department hearings and stuff where people talk to people, or the presidential press conferences, and they record all those things and put them into the governmental records.
Yeah.
Well, there was a thing recently where they edited a question and answer out of one of the tapes that was in there. Like it's like 2 years old now or something. I don't know how old it is, but they edited out the question and answer because they like lied in it and they didn't want people to know. And then they were trying to figure out, like, oh, well, what happened to this? So they go and, like, ask thing, and then, like, somebody admits, yeah, I removed that from the tape. And they're like, well, you can't do that. Who told you to do this? Like, I got a phone call, but I can't remember who told me to do it. So they just drop the thing there. It's like, okay, yeah, nobody knows. We're just going to, that's it. Somebody told them, and we can't figure it out. That's the extent that governmental investigations do against each other, because nobody's going to get in trouble for that.
Also, we need to stop referring to the Hillary Clinton email scandal as an email scandal. Sounds like she just like sent mean letters to people. It's a breach of national security. It's not just email.
And it's not even just national security. It's also blatant corruption and violating like the Freedom of Information Act, which is like the most important reason. Like there's emails from her to Colin Powell, like with them both talking about the whole reason for the server was to avoid the Freedom of Information Act.
In case you don't know, the Freedom of Information Act guarantees you access to information from the government if it's pertinent or if it's not classified to the thing you request.
And if something's partially classified, they'll just redact what's classified in it. But there are times where like you'll just get an entire page back that everything's redacted except the word the. Like 1,000 pages, everything's just black bars and then the.
You remember the Freedom of Information Act where George R.R. Martin sent like some screen some like promotional pictures to Obama before he released them to the public, and then someone submitted a Freedom of Information Act to get that email from him.
That's pretty good.
Unfortunately, he could just like wait out the Freedom of Information Act, but like until he just releases it. But I thought it was pretty good. Also, how amazing would that be if he just got that like classified for no reason?
My shit's so good that it's classified.
Yep. Game of Thrones classified. All right. What is this? What is this that I'm highlighting?
Hold on, I'm not
Is that just shit posting, or like, do you? Is that something?
it was about uh, Pence mentioned like Hillary a little bit, and then Kane was just like, Hillary was found that she didn't do anything wrong, and nobody was prosecuted. It's like that's actually not what they found. Even the guy who said there was no decision to charge her, like admitted
Hold up,
that
hold
she
up.
broke
You're trying
laws.
to say that he's lying. I remember this very distinctly. He wasn't lying. He was using his words very carefully and very intentionally to make it so that he wasn't lying.
Well, he did say a few things. He mentioned it multiple times, like when he said like the investigation concluded that not one reasonable prosecutor would take any additional step. When that isn't true, like there's many prosecutors who are capable of saying that. Now, if he said like Dave Comey said that a prosecutor wouldn't go forward,
In case people were
that would be a
wondering what
true
I was
statement.
in case people were wondering what I was talking about, this is what he put in our episode checklist. Literally this.
Hillary didn't do nothing. This is the amount that we prepare. We just put like a little thing, and then we just go off on like what that like little thing was.
This isn't like completely scripted. We have bullet points, not even real bullet
Show
points.
them the bullet points. We
We,
show them our thing.
we want me to? Okay, I'll show them the entire thing here. It's towards the end, so they're not gonna get ruined. This one. Here are our bullet points: links, shit posts, pictures. One of which I made, the Harambe one. I just made that.
I made the other one that we used the Harambe thing to make the 6 pictures. Like the only reason I put the effort to get those 6 pictures was just for that one Harambe joke. We literally made that like picture and like made the 6 charts just for that one joke.
I was thinking we were just gonna like glance over it, not say anything about Harambe, just say like Clinton's was at an all-time low, and Obama he raised it to an all-time high. I just wanted to say like that and leave it alone, but the way we did it was fine.
I can't believe that our bullet points were that little. Like, other than the links, we had 5. Iran deal, Pence ignoring attacks. Trump didn't release tax returns, so I'll speculate about what they have.
In all
Hillary didn't
caps.
do nothing. And Hillary Clinton Foundation rated higher than Red Cross, which we actually didn't get into.
Yeah, you want to do that now?
I'm gonna Google what it was rated by actually.
I know from Charity Watch, the Red Cross is like the highest rated charity, so I doubt the Clinton Foundation is higher than them on there at least.
All right. Charity Navigator refused to evaluate the Clinton Foundation after an early 2015 dispute over bad press and allegations of lack of transparency. And then they reinstated the foundation's rating. So the Charity Navigator gave it an A or something. Apparently,
I've never heard of Charity Navigator before. Is it on a Charity Watch?
uh,
That's the one I normally go to just to see like if charities are complete bullshit or not.
I don't know, but it started in 2001. The founder is John Patrick Duggan. It says it's an American independent charity watchdog organization that evaluates charitable organizations in the United States. Its stated goal is to advance a more efficient and responsive philanthropic marketplace, which givers and charities support work in tandem to overcome our nation's and the world's most persistent challenges.
I
And
just checked on Charity Watch; they're not there.
I don't know much about what this thing is, but like whenever somebody says something's rated by that, like you need to like look at like what's rating them because like who even knows what this charity navigator thing is? Like I know there's people who rated the thing highly that have like been donors to her. Like I could start the prefix institution of I don't know of cheese dips. And I could be like you know this box of cheese dips got a 5 out of 5.
Got to pull that cheese nips into the frame.
You know that commercial for that sleep pillow that the guy says something about like this pillow is rated #1 by the
Oh,
National Sleep
don't tell me
Foundation.
this is like a thing that he made up.
It is.
I
He
knew there was
started.
something wrong with that guy. I
Yeah,
got the feeling. I got the feeling that he was lying to
it's
me.
probably a good pillow. Like I'm not gonna bash the pillow. I don't know, but
I
that
just had a feeling he was lying
like
to me.
his company owns like that National like Sleep Institution or whatever.
Oh, that's great. Tune in next time on the next episode to hear about a topic that actually made me physically sick, literally sick. How charities are bullshit, all of them.
Every single one of them. There's not a single good one.
We'll talk about that next time on Leftists and Lies. All right. Let's see. We covered all our topics, and we've been going for about an hour. You wanna end it?
Yeah.
Bye.